Hello and welcome to Flavours of Feld, a culinary extension of the Hemispheric Views podcast. It's great to have you here in the Feld kitchen. As you can see, we don't actually have a splashback. Lots of people think that it's a hipster industrial finish. We just say, no, we haven't got around to it yet. So we like to embarrass people that way. So, what are we here for today? We're here by request from one of our devoted listeners, Gabriel, who you might have also heard on the recent Gabriel's Desk HE Mini episode. He wants to know, how do you do Milo Australian style? Well, here we are today. We've got everything set up. Ignore the fruit, that's not going to feature. That's just some fine decoration. We have the key ingredients for a cold Milo. You can do it hot, but we're focusing on cold because that's personally the way that I prefer it, and same with Andrew, he prefers it cold as well. So what do we have? We have the Milo itself, Nestle Milo tin, not a sponsor. Please note that Milo always includes some sort of super enthusiastic child athlete showing off their skills as a result of having eaten Milo. Notice I said eat. It does form that multi-crunchy layer on top. We have the glass, which acts as the receptacle. We have a teaspoon. Please don't go for tablespoon, that's a bit too excessive. We have a teaspoon. And of course, the final ingredient or part of this whole thing, which is the milk. And we've chosen to use South Coast milk, locally produced in the Illawarra region where we reside on the east coast of Australia in New South Wales. Big fan of this milk, full cream, full bodied flavour. Of course, if you prefer skim or a different type of milk, that's totally fine. It will affect the flavour, but we want to cater to all allergies and dietary requirements. So, first of all, we pick up said teaspoon and we apply a small bit of pressure as a lever to the tin to lift the lid. Comes off very easily. And if we look inside, yes, we've already started this one. I'm very enthusiastic about the Milo. One can see that upon first opening, there is actually an aluminium or aluminum, for our American listeners, foil layer, a wrapper that you take off to seal in the freshness. And you'll notice that the Milo is actually quite gritty. Let's come in close again if you don't mind. It's quite gritty. It's not a very fine powder. It's a coarse grind for those who enjoy coffee parlance. So what we're going to do, we're going to get a few heaped teaspoons. Now on the tin, you will notice that it says 3 heaped teaspoons to a glass. Now, what I don't really enjoy about this recommendation is that it doesn't specify really the size of one's glass. It doesn't even really specify what heaped means. So, you know, there's a bit of creative license there. If you want to do 4 heaped teaspoons, I say go for it. I think I'm going to go for around the middle ground there. Now, you want to put your Milo in first. Okay, this allows you to gauge the ratio that you want to achieve. We're going to put the milk in next. I'm going to pour that in there. And you can start to see that the Milo lifts up. It actually bunches together. It doesn't really want to bond with the milk. And this is a crucial part of the Milo powder recipe. If you heard me recently on the Hemispheric Views episode in question, you'd hear me say that the inventor of Milo, when he was commissioned to do so, was trying to come up with a powder that would mix well with the milk. It was going to be like a hot chocolate powder, if you will, something more like Nesquik perhaps. But when the kids tried it and he was struggling to get it to blend together, they said, "Dad, this is fantastic. We want the crunch to remain." So when you mix it in, which I'm now going to start doing, starting off gently here so you can see, it's mixing in with the liquid. It's becoming wet, but the milk remains really, really white. So you start to increase your speed. We're blending it with the milk and it becomes more and more chocolatey, okay? But you are going to want to retain this layer. Don't beat it so much that you're going to lose that malty, gritty, chocolatey sludge on top. All right, this is very important. Now, when you're happy with that, I'm going to leave it slightly on the milkier side, just so for the purpose of our cinematography here, one can see the contrast between the milk and the Milo layers, okay? Now, this is really up to you. I prefer to kind of alternate between my eating and drinking because you want to retain that top layer as you're consuming the Milo. So, you scoop and you get this beautiful gritty crunch. And it's essentially like a snack dessert. And then if you want to, have a sip of the milk through it. And you can alternate that way. Hell, you can even just drink it without doing it with the spoon. There's a lot of room for creative license here, as I said, but really the best Milo experience, as you've just seen, mixing it through, keeping that milky flavour with a bit of a chocolatey hint, and treating it as a bit of a snack and drink in one. So thanks so much for joining what is the first instalment of Flavours with Feld here in the Feld kitchen. I hope that you've enjoyed this little expose into the world of Australian Milo consumption. If you've tried it before, make sure to get in touch with us at Hemispheric Views on micro.blog, at Hemispheric V on Twitter, or even join our public Discord. Maybe you've tried it before and you have your own take on Milo. Maybe you even enjoy it hot in a mug. Let's hear it. Thank you so much for joining, and we'll catch you next time in the Feld Kitchen.